What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Leon, and that's my girl, Renee, my co-host.
Whoop, whoop.
Her whoop, whoop.
I know.
Whoop, whoop,
I know.
Look, today we have with us a special guest, Mr. Robert Brown. Glad to have you, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
So let me start off by explaining what impel means. The word impel means to drive, force, or urge someone to do something or to take action. So I notice I'm going to have to start explaining that more at the beginning of the podcast. Because people often ask me, what does impel mean? So I have to keep telling that, there's never enough, I can do it all the time. So I'll keep doing that.
All right.
So look, tell us,
Can't hear you.
mute button. There you go. I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Brown.
Hey, well, more importantly, my name is Bob Brown. Some people call me Robert. Some people call me Bobby. But more importantly, I live here in Durham, North Carolina. I've been down here 30 years. I'm a transplant from upstate New York, small town identified as Kingston. We're probably about 90 miles north of New York City and 40 miles south of the capital, which is Albany, New York. I live here in Durham with my wife and my 4 horses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So how long have you been here in North Carolina?
30 years.
Okay. So you're a true North Carolinian.
I am.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have family in New York still, or do you?
Yeah, I have a small family up there. I have my sister still resides in New York, as well as a few cousins and nieces and nephews.
Okay.
So you're not
trying to get them to come down here, but I have not succeeded so far.
Mm.
So you're not from the city, you're from upstate.
Yes, that's correct.
And you say you're down here in North Carolina and you have 4 horses.
Correct.
Now, like we was talking behind camera, and you said automatically when people say they're from New York, people think city.
That is correct.
Not upstate. So upstate, North Carolina, horses. How did you get involved in horses?
I'll try to make a long story really short. Probably since the age of about 4 or 5 years old, I was exposed to horses. My grandmother bought me my first bouncy horse. So that was a big feature in my life. But outside of that, we had a mentor up in Kingston, New York. He's a man that left a lot of memories there. But this man's name was George Fitzgerald. And he had 21 horses in our small town of Kingston, New York. 21 right there in that small town.
Wow.
That was back in the 60s. He had another individual there, his son, as well as a lot of younger men that actually rented these horses. And at that time in the 60s, they were renting horses for anywhere from 50 cents an hour to $1 an hour. Can you imagine that as to what they charge today? But again, these individuals would take these horses and they'd come through the city riding the horses, the teenage guys. And this one individual, Richard Van Dyke, he would come down to my grandmother's house every Saturday. He'd ride on up to the front porch. He'd say, "Come on, Bobby, jump up on here with me." And I'd jump right up on the saddle with him, a little kid, and we'd gallop up and down the streets. I mean, that just took my heart. I just fell in love with horses from that point on. So again, that's where it all began. And, I'm forever grateful.
Wow.
So how old were you when you actually rode a horse by yourself when you first started riding?
Well, again, like I said, I was probably 4 or 5 when I first started riding with Richard. But when I first started riding by myself, I was probably 9 years old or so.
So you always knew the day that you saw them that you are going in some way, shape, or form, you were going to have a horse or horses.
That was my dream. But again, where I come from, my parents had all they could do to take care of 5 kids. We lived in the downtown area. My father, he worked for IBM. But more importantly, still back in those days, having a horse was a luxury. And we lived in the inner city as well. So that dream didn't come true until I actually moved here to North Carolina.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, tell us about that. You got to North Carolina.
Okay. Well, I worked for IBM as well. I'm a second generational IBMer. I got hired in 1981. 1994, I made it through several layoffs, but I got laid off in 1994 with thousands of others. But with that being said, I knew that I could not survive in that small town with the skills that I had and trying to keep up my standard of living. I said, there's no way. So I told my parents, I said, hey, my wife and I, my kids, my wife at that time, and my kids, I said, we're moving to North Carolina. And one of the big factors in that was the fact that in Forbes magazine back in 94, North Carolina was identified as one of the best places to raise kids, to buy a home, education, and more importantly, career. And I knew IBM was down here. So I told my parents, I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to move. We're going to leave this town. She says, you're not going to go anywhere. She said, you were born and raised here and you're going to stay right here. I said, okay, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but you'll find out. And in December 1994, we loaded up a truck and we moved to Beverly's. We got on the road and headed down here. I had no job. I did find a place to live, but no job. So I came on down. I started searching, and within a month, I reached out to some contacts down here, and I was actually rehired by IBM again. So I missed probably maybe 3 months on my retirement. So again, that was a gift from God. I got rehired. I never missed a beat, and I started working and moved on with that whole situation. And unfortunately, I went through a divorce probably about year 2000, I think. And 2005, I met my new wife, who she's truly a blessing to me today. And we met at IBM as well. And I will say this, I was her superior there. So you know what they say about messing with the help. You should never do this. But that was a good thing for me. So once we got together, we started dating. She moved on and went to another IT company to work, and I stayed with IBM. But we moved on. We started dating. And I said to her, I said, you know, when we get married, we're going to have 2 horses. She says, imagine that. Imagine that, a black man getting 2 horses, more or less from New York. She said, I don't believe you. And we got married. And it was probably about a year later after we got married, took her to a ride in Virginia. And we went up there. I seen a horse that I just fell in love with. I had to have this horse. But being new and not really knowing a whole lot, I got a horse that was probably, I think he was 9 years old at that time. And he was wild as could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought this horse. My wife said, you don't need that horse. I said, I'm going to get him. And I held on to him for 5 years. But as time went on, I had a lot of mentors in my life with horses. One individual that's local here that I met when I first got here, his name is Herb Jones. He was a very, very good friend of mine. And he taught me quite a bit about horses. And we rode together. I think today he has 9 horses, if I'm not mistaken. And we ride together from time to time when we're not working. Outside of that, I've run into several individuals that have mentored me along the way. If you had an opportunity to go out to my website, I feature an individual on there. His name is Rusty Castleberry.
Mm-hmm.
He has passed on to this day, but he's been a farrier in this area for over 50 years. Him and I really had a very, very close relationship. He taught me a lot about horses. He actually did the farrier work and the shoes for my horses for over 12, 13 years. And Rusty and I had a special relationship because he and I had cancer together. Unfortunately, Rusty passed away as a result of his cancer, and I survived it. And he told me, Bob, move on. You've got a good skill with these horses. You're going to do well. He says, and remember all the things that I've taught you. And I feature him on my website. He's on the front page with me, and I'll never forget Rusty. So that's part of my purpose here and how I actually got started with horses.
Speaking, I was going to ask you about this, but you brought it up earlier in the conversation. I seen you do a video. If I'm correct, two of your brothers died of cancer,
Yes,
and your father.
two of my brothers and my father.
Wow.
Of the same kind of cancer.
Same exact cancer. Cancer of the right kidney. Cancer was identified as renal cell clear cell carcinoma.
And is that the same thing you had?
That is correct.
Wow.
Really? So what was the difference? Like, was theirs more progressive? They caught it later and you caught yours sooner?
Yeah, there are a couple different things. One, my dad, he lived to be, I think he was close to 90 years old, or he might have been 90, 91 when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
He got the renal cell clear cell carcinoma in his right kidney, had the kidney removed, and he lived probably about 4 years after that, turned 90 years old, and his health just started declining, and his kidney started failing. So he lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
We move on. I had another brother, my brother right under me. He was 3 years younger than I was. He also got renal cell clear cell carcinoma, and both kidneys were removed. I never knew that you could live life with no kidneys at all, but you can, but you have to undergo extreme dialysis 3 to 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So he lived with his renal cell clear cell carcinoma through dialysis for several years. At that time, I had a younger brother, which I was very close to. He also got renal cell clear cell carcinoma, right kidney removed. And at that point, after that kidney was removed, they never called him back to do a follow-up with him. And probably 6 months to 7 months later, he started feeling bad again. And they brought him back in and they said the cancer had started spreading through his body. He's a young guy too, very, very, very muscular, did a lot of heavy work, but that cancer took him down to probably 90 pounds. And he passed away in 2019. So it just left my brother and I left along with my sister. And in June 2nd, 2023, I got a call at 4:00 in the morning. And it was the doctors from New York. And they basically told me that your brother Charles has passed away. And I wasn't really surprised because he lived a very, very, lack of words, very tough life.
Mm-hmm.
He was making some bad decisions in the streets and things of that nature. But outside of that, he had the cancer as well. And so 4:00 in the morning, I got that call that he had passed away. At 6:00 in the morning, I got the same call. I was in the gym working out. I got the call from my hospital up in Virginia. They said, "Mr. Brown, we have a kidney for you." And I really didn't know what to say. I said, "Okay, let me check with my wife to see what we want to do," because you have an option whether you want to accept that kidney or not. Mm-hmm. So I called my wife. My wife started screaming, crying. She started praying, praising God. She said, "Let's go. Let's get packed. We're on our way." So same day my brother died, I received my new kidney, June 2nd, 2023. And I'm here today to tell the story a year later.
Wow.
That's awesome. So when did you find out that you had cancer?
I think it was in 2020. 2020, I was going to a nephrologist. I knew probably about 2018 that my kidneys were starting to fail, but I didn't have cancer at that time. And probably 2020 is when they said, "Okay, Bob," actually Richmond, Virginia, VCU called me and said, "We want to do a scan on your kidneys to make sure that you're able to, to go through our program." And they scanned it and they said, you've got cancer in this kidney. And they took the kidney out, they followed through, removed the kidney. I went back here to Raleigh-Durham here. I got on dialysis. Again, short story, I'm afraid to death of needles. All my life, I've been afraid of needles. And in dialysis, you've got to have 2 needles inserted to you for 4 hours at a time, 3 days a week. Goes to say I got used to that. But more importantly, they diagnosed me. I was on dialysis for probably 3.5 years. My wife took care of me. She took very good care of me. But it was a very rough 3.5 years. I came that close to transitioning to seeing our Heavenly Father. But I held on. My wife, she encouraged me. I had so many brothers and sisters, my pastor, everybody praying for me. They've come here every week and pray with me, pray for me. And the power of prayer is so strong, and that really got me through. But as far as me, I had a rough time because I seen my brother go through it, my dad go through it, and my last brother as well. And in my mind, I was saying, the devil is not going to take me out. I was fighting so hard internally and in my mind that I really lost my sense of thought, my mind, for probably a good 3 or 4 months. I had no idea who I was, where I was. It's in the hospital, in and out of the hospital. And I just fought. I was fighting internally. And the doctors had to put me on several different types of medication to basically get me to calm down and to relax. There were times that I hadn't slept in like a week. I would just get up and walk the floors at night. It was very rough, very rough. And then finally, when that time came to get that transplant, it turned my life around for good. And when my life got turned around, that's when we made a decision that, hey, I'm so grateful. We're giving back to the community, giving back to the kids. And part of my purpose, part of our purpose for my wife and I is to do this horseback riding. We give lessons, we give trail rides, and we just love it. Up at 5:30, and sometimes we don't finish till 6 in the evening. So it's been a wonderful venture, and we're looking forward to increase as we move forward.
Oh, wow. Speaking of, let's get into green pastures and still waters.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I know, the name and I guess the business as a whole.
Okay. Well, going back to 2009, that's when I first started Green Pastures. It was actually called Green Pastures Boarding at that time. There was a property that's actually right down the road from me, had 13 acres there, and it was for sale for, I think, 1.5 million. And my wife and I would go by there every week after church. And I would look at that sign and I was like, the Lord hasn't blessed us like that. 1.5 million, I can't touch it. And we would go by again 6 months. Every week we'd go by. 6 months later, came down to $1 million, then down to 870,000. I said, the Lord still hasn't blessed us like that. So
almost, just not yet.
Not yet. So I went by there one Sunday right after church, and I seen a little lady down in the driveway. She's from Korea, and her name is Miss Kim. And woe behold, went down. I spoke with her. She spoke broken English, but she has 4 children. They all just got from Korea, came to Korea. I asked her what she's going to do with this land. She says, I'm not going to do anything with the land. It's just me and my children here in the house. So we basically made a pact to start this business, Green Pastures Boarding. I said, can I use this land? Can I rent this land from you? And she says, you come see me after church. She says, and we talk. So that evening, somebody gave me a call. It was an interpreter for her. And I went over to her home, and I walked in, took my shoes off, and she says, we pray first. And so she prayed, and we prayed about the situation. She says, okay, what do you want to do? And I told her what I wanted to do. And the interpreter and translated it for her. And she didn't quite understand. And so I looked at her, I says, money. She said, money. And so from that point on, we came together. I started Green Pastures Boarding, and we had a venture for 7 years. And we did very well with that. I had up to 11 horses that I was able to take care of. I did not own my first horse as of yet until towards the end. But during that venture, that 7 years, high-end subdivision started tearing down the woods over in that area, and they needed an acre of her land to build a road. And she followed. She says, I will sell you the acre. And they paid her dearly for that. But more importantly, they tore down the barns. And she says, I build you a new barn. 2 new barns I build you. And we start boarding business. And I said, no, I don't think so, Miss Kim. I says, I'm getting up in age. I said, and it's time for my wife and I to build our retirement home, and we're going to start buy our own land and build on our own property. And at that point in time, she wasn't very happy about it, but I says, it's 7 years, and we prayed on it as well. I said, it's been 7 years. 7 years for us, and in the Bible means completion. That process over there was completed. We were done with that, and it was time for us to move on. And we found this property where we currently stay or live. It was 5 acres, and it was only a quarter of a mile from where the horses were previously. And we built this. We got this home built. My wife actually designed it. And we got the pasture, the barns built. I had gentlemen, guys from my church. They came over on the weekends or whenever they had a chance. But it was my wife and I, my best friend Michael, and we built the pasture. We built the barns. Now, granted, I hit keys for a living. You know, I was in management. I hit keys. I didn't swing a hammer. I wore gloves all the time. So we built the barn. It didn't look like a traditional barn. The floors were a little slanted, but it's still standing today. So we built this business up. We got it going. We got 2 horses to start off with. Then we bought a third one. And my wife, and we did that for probably 4 years. But the money to take care of those horses was coming out of our pension and our Social Security. And my wife was not happy about that. So it's like, we got to find a way. You got to find a way to take care of these horses without going into our pension and our retirement. I said, I agree. So we went out. I started looking at different stables that are out there. I had some friends and associates that were doing the same thing. But the only thing is that there were no black cowboys, no black people out there actually doing this business. And it's really not a business for African Americans. You don't find very, very many around, if any at all. So it was a big decision to go down this path. So I said, I'm going to open up the stable. I'm going to go ahead and put the program together. So I sat down. My wife helped me put my LLC together. I got all of my different North Carolina state statutes. I posted them on the property. I put some publications together for the training, and I had some very good friends of mine come around. They started mentoring me on what I had to do these lessons and these trail rides. And we got things going. And then business started increasing. And I said, I can't do this any longer with just 3 horses. And I said, I want to get another horse. And my wife is like, no, not yet. Not yet. We have to see these horses start making some money for us. And probably about 4 months went by, and I'd been talking to this lady in Virginia about these particular horses. And we have Tennessee Walkers. And these Tennessee Walkers they're very smooth walking horses. They have a gait, and it's very smooth. In some cases, they call these Tennessee Walkers the black man's Cadillac. That's how smooth they walk. So long story short is, the business started building. We started getting more customers than we could handle. And my wife says, it's time to go get that other horse. So we bought Hawkeye in. He's 2.5 years old. We have 4 up there now. We do 4-week lessons every month. And we have new customers coming in. And it's getting to a point right now where we've got an overload. So I have to pick and choose, just what I want to do, what my schedule is going to be, without going overboard and overworking myself. So it's working out very well right now. So we're going to continue to move forward.
Nice.
So how did you the plan to run your pasture as far as getting students? Did you already have that thought in your head to do that, or did it come about as you got the horses?
I had a thought. I had a process in place, and basically it was just advertising. I advertise on Instagram. I advertise on Facebook. I actually had billboards or posters made. I put them throughout the area here. And once I started doing that, the calls started coming in.
Really? So are you in the rodeo community, or are you kind of a little bit separated from that? I don't know if that's big here in North Carolina.
No, I'm not in the rodeo community. However, I do know some individuals that I'm associated with. that actually facilitate rodeos. But no, I'm not doing that. That's not part of my forte.
Now, you said the guy that you was best friends with, the one who died, who took care of your horses, the horseshoes and all that.
Yes.
So do you have other people who helps you with that now, or do you know how to do it yourself now?
No, I don't do it myself. That's very backbreaking, hard work. So I have I have a farrier that's been with me. His name is Tyrone, and he's an actual professional trainer and rider, and he does this on the side. He has, I think he said 16 horses, and he has actual professional horses. They're Rocky Mount Tennessee Walkers as well. High dollar horses, very high dollar. And he sells outside the country, all over. And he's been with me now for probably about 4 years. And he actually services me every 6 to 8 weeks. He comes and puts new shoes on for me.
And you said his name is Tyrone?
Yes.
So I'm assuming he's black.
Yes, he is. Let me correct that. Tyrell. I've been calling him Tyrone for so long now, and his name is actually Tyrell.
But does he answer to Tyrone by you only?
Yes, he does. He said, Mr. Brown, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I asked you that I was assuming he was black because you hit on it earlier about a lot of blacks being involved with horses and pastures. And I was going to ask you about that, but you hit on it. So that's why I asked you about it. Yeah.
So do you board horses for other people that have horses, but they may not have a home for them particularly?
No, I don't do any boarding. I previously, when I started out, I did boarding, but no, I don't do any boarding now. Again, we only have 5 acres over here. I have enough for my 4 horses, and that's it.
Okay.
How hard is it to maintain your pasture?
It's consistent, hard work. A lot of work I pay to have done, especially if I need a bobcat or a bulldozer or anything like that. I've been blessed enough to be able to wheel and deal. We got this subdivision going in that's pretty much done across from me. So they have individuals coming in with heavy equipment, and I'll go over there and I'll talk to them. I say, hey, you want to make some cash on the side? And they're open for it. They try to get more, but I get a fair price. They come over here and do my work for me. But outside of that, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. By 6:30, I'm up there with the horses. I have to clean stalls every morning, clean them out, sweep them out, discard all of the dung. I have to drag the pasture because it's pretty much a lot of dirt up there now. So I have to drag that so it looks nice and clean, like a baseball field almost. I have to bring hay in every week. I get 700-pound round bales of hay. There's a local farmer here, Page's Strawberry Patch. You may have heard of that. He provides all the hay for the area here. So I get hay from them once a week, 700-pound round bale. And then I get my feed from Creedmoor. And I just keep things going. I mean, keep the horses clean. I keep them watered. I keep them hayed. It's an ongoing job. If they break a fence down, I got to fix the fences. And I got to do all of that as well as keep the rest of the property up and running for a personal home, cutting the grass, doing all the maintenance here.
You do all of that?
I do all of it. It's a one-man show.
Oh, goodness.
But you got to understand, that keeps me alive.
Oh, yeah.
That keeps me alive.
Yeah.
My granddaughters, they call me all the time. Poppy, you're 65 years old. You're getting too old to keep doing this. You got to slow down. Nope, I'm keep going.
It's good exercise for you.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah. But do you ever consider getting some young help to help you out a little bit here and there?
I do. Right now, in the infancy of the business, the overhead would probably be a little much for me, but I'm willing to take that overhead on. But right now, I do get a lot of volunteers from my students, parents, awesome group of individuals. They come around, they help me, feed, they help me clean. And like on weekends, 3-4 day weekends, when my wife and I want to get away, the students and their parents, they come and take care of the barn for us. And
wow. That's really nice.
Yeah, it is.
So, does any of your kids have a passion for horses just like you?
Oh, they do. They do. Actually, I have a young lady that's she's probably about 4 doors down from us, and she took care of our horses when we went to Aruba for 8 days. And more importantly, she told her parents she wants a horse, and I think she's probably 13 years old, and they've got the land over there. So she's been taking lessons now with me for the last 3 months, and she took a break now during the summer, but she'll be back supposedly in September. So her parents are planning on getting her a horse. And the beauty of it all is that when I work with these young kids and adults that have never been on a horse before, and then at the end of the session, they're giving me high fives, and they're just, you can see the joy in their face. And some of these adults, some of the women that get on, they have tears coming from their eyes because they're so afraid. They're up there on this huge horse, 1,500 pounds. And I just talk to them. I mentor them. I lead them around. And then before you know it, they're riding by themselves. And it's just an awesome opportunity, awesome experience. And I get such a joy out of it to see the growth of individuals.
So how long does it take for one to learn how to ride?
Well, for the most part, these kids and adults that I've had on, probably after the first 4-week session, they're pretty good with riding, and that's a beginner's class. And then I go into an intermediate class for the next 4 weeks. So then they have 8 weeks under their belt, and then after that 8 weeks, they're pretty good as far as riding. But they have to keep it up. You get a skill like that, you have to practice. And like I tell them all the time, horses are creatures of nature. So any little thing can set them off. And if you're not on your A game, you're going to hit the ground, or it could be a very serious accident. So you've always got to be practicing your skill and riding on a regular basis. So 4 to 8 weeks, I think they're pretty suffice.
And that's exactly why I'm scared to get on one.
Right. Now
I'm going to get you over here. I'm going to get you here, and I'm going to mentor you, for the day, and you're going to love it.
All right.
Take lots of pictures. I want to see Leon on the horse. I need proof of life. Now, do you have any of your, I guess your clients or your students, or your people kind of ask for, like, maybe they want to drop in and just ride the horse? Do you have kind of like a drop-in fee, or if they text you or call you and say, "Hey, Mr. Brown, do you mind if I come and ride the horse on Tuesday at 3?"
We have situations like that. They will come in, but the point of the matter is I need to be there with them. You just can't come here and go up and get on the horse and ride. I have to be there to actually to be there as an individual, and that's for insurance purposes as well. You just can't come and ride. Everyone has to have a helmet on. You have to sign a release of liability form for me, anyone that rides. So outside of taking lessons, you can come in here and take a lesson, and then we take you on an excursion through the other 5 acres, and I lead you. I'll be on my horse, and we try to call it an excursion as opposed to a trail ride, because it's really not a trail ride, but it's probably about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile on our property that you're actually riding.
Mm-hmm.
So your quick answer to that is yes, they can come and ride. They don't just have to take lessons. I have a fee for individuals that just want to come and do the hour ride. And then I have a fee for individuals that want to take lessons as well.
Now, with earlier you said that the city, when you started with the lady, they came and wanted to make a road through that. Do you have any of those the city coming to you about doing any of that around your 5 acres?
No, they actually, what do you call that? Grandfathered in, because we're all county here, Durham County.
Okay.
And that subdivision that they did over there, they grandfathered that in and actually made that city of Durham. Okay. So it's all city over there now.
Okay. Now, with you running the pasture, are there any rules or regulations that you have with running that far as the government, city, state, whatever?
Not in particular. I know my insurance policy holder, there's certain guidelines that I have to go by there. I have to stay specifically on my property for coverage. No smoking, that's a no-no around horses and hay and things of that nature. No running. Actually, they defined that they didn't want any cats and dogs. Otherwise, your policy, your figures go up as far as what it's going to cost you. Outside of that, there's not much more as far as guidelines.
What type of insurance or what type of name of like insurance company, like NC Farm Bureau? I mean, is there a special company that's for this particular?
Yeah, you have to have a company that provides services for equines. So it's called equine liability insurance. And Farm Bureau is one of them. They actually provide that. But to be honest with you, it was very difficult to find someone to actually write those policies because the horseback riding and lessons is it's a big risk for insurance companies. They don't like to make that payout. So they find every reason to deny you as opposed to accept you. And if you do get accepted, the rates are very, very high.
Really?
So that the reason for not having dogs and cats. They don't. If you teaching lessons, they don't want the cats and dogs to scare them.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
And no smoking near the hay because the barn can catch on fire, which is a potential risk to if horses are in there. And, because they're separate insurance, the barn and the horse, right? Or is it all one?
It's all under one umbrella for me.
One umbrella? Okay. Interesting. Do you find any challenges having horses and being in this, I would say community of being one of few, I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm going to guess being a Black male, Black owned business with horses in Durham. Do you find it challenging or, you feel well connected within the industry?
I'll have to say, I really don't see any challenges. I pretty much, stay to myself as far as in my little circle. I have a very small business. Like I said, 4 horses out here. There are a couple barns on the outside area of Durham here in this general area. They're working with 15, 20 horses. It's a big area. A lot of them have cats and dogs running around. They have a lot of people coming in and out, in and out. And this is a small, very small business, and it's very unique. To the fact that when I have customers come in, they're like, we are definitely coming back because I said it's so quiet here, it's so peaceful. And they get on the trails riding through, and we have some deer back there and wild turkeys, but everything is so quiet and it's so small. You don't have a lot of people running around. It's just total quiet environment. People love it. So far, I guess, from what I'm hearing, people are like, your ratings out there are absolutely phenomenal. You've got 5-star ratings. And I probably need to get a negative rating just to let people know that this is real.
Let's keep that. You don't need that.
You don't want that. Not at all.
Where did you come up with the name?
Green Pastures and Stillwater's Barn. Those words mean anything to you? I'm a Christian and reading my Bible.
Yeah.
I always remember the scripture that he leadeth you beside still waters and lieth you down in green pastures. Okay. And far back as 2009, that's the route I took. And it was so becoming because the front of my home is just, I have probably an acre full of green grass out there. But back where the horses are, there's no grass. But the green pastures and still waters, because it's so calm, it's so peaceful here, and people tell us that all the time. So I always say, my wife says, Brown, this is a protected area. God has a covering over this area, and we move forward, and we receive that.
I love that. You do have some great reviews.
Well, thank you.
And you respond. That's it. I mean, for a person like me who leaves reviews, I think it's important that you recognize all of your customers, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
And do you do a lot of advertisement now, or you just do regular posting like on Facebook and things like that?
Yeah, I use Instagram and Facebook for my posting. My signs for my lessons and rides out there, I put them in the local area around here and I post them up. But within 2 to 3 weeks, somebody, I'm going to say somebody, or the county is coming by and taking our signs.
Yeah, they will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will do that.
You know, that's the price of doing business. So that's kind of the route of advertising that I do, and word of mouth as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked to them about your signs or whether you can keep them up, or you just?
I'm trying to find a contact with the county. So that's something I'm working on. But it's just not me. I mean, it's the farmers next door. They put out signs for the Pumpkin Fest and Strawberry Patch, and their signs disappear as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple letters myself.
Okay.
So I know what you're going through with that. Yeah. Take them down.
This is beautiful. I might. I can't make no promises. I've only been on a horse once in my life.
Well, I can almost give you the confidence that if you come and ride with us and take a lesson, and this will actually, for you guys, it'll be complimentary on the house. Come and take a lesson, 1 hour, and I promise you your view will change.
I'm scared. So look, tell me this. Every time I think about riding horses or I see somebody riding horse, I think about, was it Superman? What's his real name again?
Clark Kent. Reeves.
Reeves. Didn't he get injured from a horse?
Yes, he did.
Through jumping. You're not jumping. You're walking, galloping. I don't know.
I never knew what happened, but that's all I think about. So he was jumping.
Yeah. You're not going to be doing all of that.
No.
I didn't know at all what he was doing. So now I know he was jumping. I definitely ain't gonna be jumping.
No, we don't do any of that here.
No.
Okay. Wow. I thought maybe he was riding the horse, got scared, and
we're gonna have to take him up on the offer.
There you go.
Yeah. So what days
right
do you do things like that? Just, I know you have classes in the week, right?
My lessons right now are on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and some Saturday mornings. Every other day, plus those days, I reserve slots for people that don't want to take a lesson and they just want to do an actual lesson ride on the property through the woods.
So I guess that'll be one of those days we come out there and
not through the woods, like to the end of the block, and back, and then take a picture so my friends know it's real, like it really happened.
Well, one of the golden ideas that I came up with when I do my lessons and my rides out there is I actually take pictures of everybody on their rides in the woods, beautiful pictures coming across the bridge, riding by themselves. And then I send them their picture free of charge. And that's people love it. They love it.
Leon, we gotta plan a day.
There you go.
So actually we for my daughters, it was a couple years ago. That's what she had for her birthday, horse ride.
Yes. Where'd you go?
They actually brought the horse out there somewhere in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
We didn't go nowhere. They brought the horses to us.
Okay.
So she that's something that she probably want to do, come over there. So I'll see if she wants to come over there and ride the horse.
Okay, awesome.
Or get lessons, or however we talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask some of my friend groups, some of my friends, see if they want to go ahead and do a ride and have them, take pictures and post pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all of those things, and bring some people.
Yeah,
bring more customers.
And if you've been to the website, down below under some of the pictures there, we actually hosted a group of young African American kids that are part of a book club. There was probably about 25 of them, and they came and they did their book reading. Then they had something to eat. Then they came up and they all got a chance to ride the horse. It was an awesome opportunity, and we love doing stuff like that. And that's part of giving back to the community.
I love that. Well, I'll definitely have to bring that up in my girls group chat. See if we can have a day and come out there.
And there you go.
And you just recently did a graduation. How often do you have graduations?
Every month.
Every month.
Once the students graduate from the 4-week course, intermediate onto or beginners onto intermediate, We have a little gathering, and we basically clean out our garage. We set it up. My wife bakes a cake because she's a caterer on the side as well as a professional cake baker. So she bakes a sheet cake. She puts each one of the students' picture on the cake, riding their horse, and she says, "Congratulations, you did it," or some type of words on there. And we give them certificates. We play a little music. We have them come up and introduce themselves, let them know how they got into horses and what they thought of the class. And it's an awesome time. And we time it for 1 hour. We don't want to take up a lot of time for people. It's 2 to 3. They have their graduation and they go on their separate ways, and they love it every month.
That is so sweet. I love that.
And you said it's 2 to
most barns don't do that either. I mean, again, like I indicated, we're a very unique program here.
That's great.
Mr. Brown, you got to sell them services. I love that.
He says from 2 to 3 people.
No, the program is 2 to 3.
The
So
graduation.
how many people do you actually train at one time?
I have up to 9 students every month.
Okay, and they just take turns hopping on the horse. And you train them.
No, they have different time slots. So we have 3 horses that are lesson horses,
Mhm.
and they have a time slot. And we start as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. Then we'll start another lesson at 10 o'clock, one at 11:30.
Oh, okay.
And we try to finish up by 12 noon because of the extreme heat that we've been having. We don't want to expose the horses to the heat, nor do we want to expose the students to the extreme heat. So by 12 noon or so, we're done for the day with lessons.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you busier in the summertime or when school is out, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So during the cold weathers, what do you do to care for the horses? Do you have a heater or something in there? Like, what happens?
Well, in the wintertime, we pretty much we up their feed a little bit to keep them warmer. Basically, the focus around that is as long as a horse is eating hay, it's like a furnace, fire burning in a furnace. It keeps them warm. They also have enzymes in their fur that actually they grow an actual winter coat. So that keeps them warm as well. But outside of that, I have a rule, which is a general rule that most people use, unless it's a show horse. Anytime the temperature drops below 32 degrees consistently for 3 or 4 days, we'll blanket them. They have heavy blankets that we put on and we strap them in, and that keeps them additionally warm. And then they go into their stalls. I have the 4 stalls for my horses. I keep everything open, so they're never locked down. They can come in and out whenever they want, go to their hay bale, go back in. So they have free reign.
Oh, wow. That's so nice.
Awesome.
Your horses got it good over there.
Yes, they do.
I have one more question, and this might sound crazy, but I don't know, so I'm going to ask.
Right.
Is that all horses eat is hay?
No.
Yeah, they eat carrots?
They eat carrots. They eat apples.
Okay.
Like
is apple like a treat? Because on TV, it's always like, I'm going to give you a little treat, and it's the apple. Is that considered a treat for them?
Yes, it's a treat, yes. And my wife puts that part of the grocery budget. When she goes out, she brings a bag of carrots or apples back. So they're very fortunate. These horses get taken care of very well. But they also eat grain and protein, calcium. Different levels of nutrition are in particular grains, and my horses eat a pellet grain, and it's high in fat. And the grains, they come in 50-pound bags. I just bought grain today. Actually, I had to buy 15 bags.
How long will that last you?
1 month.
So on average, how much does it cost?
I knew that was coming.
Now I'm interested, right? I may want a horse. I got a townhouse, so I'll park it in the back or something.
No, you parking a horse out there.
How much does it cost for a horse a monthly for a horse, including the treats? Because I want to give my horse good treats too.
And you're talking about one horse, right? Okay. 2 bags of feed at probably $20 a bag. Keep in mind, feed can go from low end to middle to high end.
I want my horse to have the best. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got big pockets then.
Not really, but we're parking it in the back of the townhouse.
There was one point in time I was paying $30 a bag for feed for their grain, but I found a just as good quality of feed that is now costing me $19 a bag. My wife loved that.
Okay.
Two bags of grain for the month for one horse. So you're talking $40.
$40.
Let's say a round bale of hay, 700-pound round bale of hay. For one horse, that'll last you 2 months. And that round bale of hay is running you anywhere from $50 to $75, depending on where you get it from.
Okay.
Okay, you adding up the numbers for me?
Yep.
Shoes. Every 6 to 8 weeks, you have to have shoes put on your horse. That's $100.
Not my horse wear Jordans.
$100 for shoes. And granted, my wife tells me if those horses go to get shoes, you can believe I'm going to the nail salon to get my nails done.
Oh, so you really coming out?
She doesn't go every 4 to 6 weeks.
I know.
You know,
every week or two.
There you go. But you got your hay, and then you got to take into consideration the veterinarian bills.
I was going to ask you about that.
Be checked out twice a year. So for one horse, you're probably talking $300, for the year just for veterinarian bills to get their shots, to get their general examination. Now, if your horse gets sick, then you gotta. That's costing you some money.
How much is my horse insurance? Because do they have medical insurance, or am I paying out of pocket?
Pay it out of pocket. No insurance.
No Petco.
No Petco. Not unless you want. Now, understand. If you have a horse that's a $15,000 horse, you want horse insurance.
I was gonna get to that, but I was getting to my monthly bill first. So I can't take I can't pull my horse up and take it into Petco.
No.
So the veterinarian, do you have to load them up and take them somewhere? Or
no, she comes to us.
Oh Lord, and I gotta pay her gas? Is there a fee for that too?
$70.
Jeez.
Just for the visit, just for coming.
Okay, what else I
got? That's pretty much about it. And take into consideration, if you have your own land, that's a plus because then you don't have to pay for boarding. But for you,
I'm gonna charge it to the HOA.
No, you got a townhouse, so you're gonna have to board your horse out. So you're gonna have to board your house, and it depends on what level of boarding you want. Now you can go, and get your horse just put out in the field, or you could get them in a place where they have running hot water and heat and all that good stuff. $800 a month.
Excuse me?
You heard $800 a month.
And she don't want no horse.
$800 a month. And I got 4.
That is giving car payment and or mortgage.
You got it.
Yeah.
But I don't deal with that because I have my own land.
I know that's right. I was, can't park it in the back and let the HOA take care of it.
There you go.
So, okay. So about $1,400. Ooh. And that's just if your horse is in good health. You know what I mean?
That is correct.
Can't take it to Petco, people. You can't take it to Banfield, people.
Nope. You got to call your local vet.
And it probably has to be a special vet that specializes in horses. It can't just be someone that's putting chips in dogs and cats.
That's correct.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Now, on average, how much is, to purchase a horse? If I was looking for a horse and I'm like, I want to get a horse next week. You
ever hear the saying, you get what you pay for?
So
that's a true statement. You can go out in the country, and you can go get a horse for $500. That horse is probably, and you can get some good horses. Do not get me wrong. You can get some good horses out there, $500, $1,000. They're good, great horses. But the horses that I get and most of my associates, they have papers. They're registered. They come from direct good bloodlines. And so you can track those horses. They have very, very good temperaments. They're easily trained. Most of them, no bucking, no biting. You know, they're premium horses.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to pay anywhere from, I'm going to say, $7,000 to $12,000 for those horses.
Oh, that's a Nissan.
Now, is it cheaper the smaller they are, or it doesn't matter? It depends on the brand.
Has nothing to do with the smaller they are, their size.
Depends
Oh, really? So a pony? You talking about a pony?
Pony, then yeah, that's relatively cheap. But you're not going to ride a pony.
No, you ain't gonna ride no pony.
Please don't pull up in a pony, Leon.
No.
Don't embarrass us like that.
No, I don't want to nail one of them.
So we paying about $10,000 for a horse, and then the upkeep is about $1,400 a month.
Correct.
Very high maintenance.
Cut that in half though if you have your own land. Go out and have your house built. Get a couple acres.
And this is a big tax write-off, right?
It is if you have the business. If you
Right,
have the business, there's your tax write-off. Absolutely.
Right.
Everything's a tax write-off.
Everything?
Feed, vet bills,
Oh.
hay, shoes,
Yeah.
everything.
Can I write the horse off in the beginning, like a beginner's tax?
The cost of the horse you can write off.
I'm getting a horse.
If your horse passes away, you can take you can write that off.
Really? No matter the death?
No matter, yeah. You write it off as a loss.
Wow. Look at that. Huh.
It's business.
Yeah.
It is business. Has anybody tried to go in business with you, or kind of talk to you about becoming a partner?
No.
Okay.
I've not had that. I mean, I'm a small person on the block. I have a small business, and most, like I indicated earlier, the barns that are out here now, they're very large, they're very established, and they have cheddar behind them.
Mm-hmm.
They have cash money.
Yeah.
So how much longer do you think, or do you plan, or you don't even have a number that you're going to continue with?
Well,
Pasture.
As long as the good Lord blesses me with good health. I'm 65 years old. I'm starting to feel it a little bit now, but I would like to probably 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Pass it down, huh?
I have very good friends of mine that are right now that they are 70 and they're riding and they're doing well.
Really?
That's good.
Wow.
Well,
that's interesting. I don't have any more questions because now I'm broke because I got to pay $10,000 for my horse and $1,400 a month.
Drop it down to $7,000.
$7,000.
So, Mr. Brown, what would you leave the people? Anybody who want to start a pasture or just get in the horse business? What advice would you give them?
Well, first and foremost, if you're going into it for the money, you're going to have some challenges, but you really need to have a genuine love for horses. You need to have a genuine love for the care of horses. And ultimately, if you're going in that business, the clientele will be children and young adults and adults. And you got to be committed to being and providing total customer satisfaction. If you're not willing to do those things, it's going to probably be a rocky road, because you have a lot of barns out there today that have very bad reputations. They're not doing well, and it's all because of their customer sat. And you can read that, by their ratings and things. And it's unfortunate. So you really got to be committed to doing this.
I like that.
Right. And tell people how they can find you on IG, Facebook. Okay.
On Facebook, I'm Robert R. Brown. On my Facebook, Instagram is gpridinglessons.com. And that's pretty much the two portals that I have. I have numerous signs through the community here. So if you see my signs out there that say Green Pastures and Stillwater's Barn, that would be me. So outside of that, if this is something that interests you and you'd like to ride or learn to ride and take lessons, or just come out for a trail ride or bring your significant other or husband or wife out. Come on out and join us. I can pretty much guarantee you're going to have a wonderful experience, and you'll probably come back. So again, we provide total customer satisfaction, and I'm looking forward to promoting my purpose in the love of horses, and promoting the business, more importantly, and giving people a good exposure and a good experience going forward.
Love that.
And look, y'all heard him here. Go visit Mr. Brown at Green Pastures and Still Waters Barn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go get your horse experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be to see you.
Leon and I, we gonna pray about it.
I'm looking forward to actually seeing you guys. I really am.
I'm going to come out there for real though. I'm coming.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, it was good talking to you and listening to your story. You have an awesome story and business.
Yes.
I'm glad that you're doing it at the young age of 65.
Yeah.
All right, stay on, Mr. Brown. Don't log off, but y'all make sure y'all go see Mr. Brown and stay tuned for another episode of the Impel Forward podcast. And remember, seize the opportunity to grasp your dreams.
There you go.